This is what you'd get if Solid Snake designed a video game in Microsoft Paint. This is Nomis, The Legacy Islands, a $3 indie game for the Xbox 360's Live Arcade. I know $3 doesn't really go as far as it used to. How much is a Slinky these days?
Epic fail.
We'll get this out of the way right up front. Nomis, The Legacy Islands is a surprisingly hardcore game. Now, don't be fooled by the game's appearance, which we'll discuss in a moment, because the game is more challenging than it might suggest. Now, you're not going to bang your head against the wall or anything, but Nomis might test those old-school side-scrolling skills a bit more than you'd expect. Bottom line, you're going to die in this game. A lot. This game is really a throwback to a bygone era. It's a 2D platformer in which you jump around and shoot things in very flat environments. But familiar as it may look, however, Nomis tries to distinguish itself by adding stealth mechanics as well. Players can activate an invisible stealth mode to sneak past enemies and progress through the levels without firing a single shot. At least theoretically, and really, that's the only part of the game that feels unique. It can actually be good fun to avoid enemies and especially to sneak up on them and whack them with melee attacks, but the mechanic isn't all that well implemented. Since the ability recharges while you're not using it, you can simply run through an area filled with enemies, find a shady spot to recharge, and repeat the process. Because you can upgrade your stealth mode throughout the game, the problem only worsens as the game progresses. Indeed, the invisibility mechanic is meant to feel stealthy, but a lot of times it just feels cheap. Almost as cheap as the game's deaths. Another thing I can't say that I'm a big fan of is the art style. Of course, I do like really colorful visuals, and I love when developers go for the hand-drawn look, but the thing is, those traits really don't mean anything themselves. They're just vehicles for a style, for an idea, for a sense of character, and those are things Nomis just doesn't have. It may use brilliant techniques, the whole coloring book style is interesting, but in this game, the central concept it's being used to convey just isn't very memorable or appealing. Now, there are plenty of things to like about this game. It's got a solid 2-player cooperative mode for local play, it's got 20 diverse levels, and at least in concept, it's got a few cool gameplay ideas as well. But ultimately, nice trimmings aren't enough to add fun to Nomis, The Legacy Islands, a game that's flat in more ways than the obvious.
Ugh.